In the spring of 2019, we asked the people of North Florida to become eco-citizens. It goes like this. 1. Get in touch with nature's seasonal cycles. 2. Participate in citizen science to measure seasonal change. 3. Make your yard a refuge for wildlife. After all, a yard full of native plants and animals is an ideal citizen science lab, and you're helping to maintain the biodiversity of our area. It's a story of two places, not that far apart. In the forest, we see citizen science in action. In the city, people are building a habitat. Over the months, we see seasons change, and at the end, we have a party.
Take the local routes and journey down the roads we call our home.
Funding for WFSU EcoCitizen was provided by nature and the City of Tallahassee.
What's it called? A mole salamander.
On EcoCitizen Day, families got to go out to the Apalachicola National Forest and try their hands at citizen science. It's a program I do with my own kids. Only last year, the ephemeral wetlands in the forest didn't cooperate.
Some years are a lot more active than other years. So last year, we had a lot of people sign up for the Adopt an Ephemeral Wetland program, but most of the wetlands stayed dry throughout the year. Ephemeral wetlands are a special and unique kind of wetland because they don't hold water year-round. They fill up seasonally associated with rain events. And here in North Florida, that typically means that our wetlands will fill in the wintertime when we have cold fronts coming through. They will dry up in the spring when we have the Bermuda highs set up. And then again in the summertime when we get these tropical systems coming through, the wetlands will fill up again. Some wetlands will hold water just for a couple weeks, some will hold water for several months. And that's really significant to a special group of amphibians that depend on these isolated fishless wetlands in order to breed.
Now this is the moment of release. The greatest moment in the striped newt project is this right here, is when we put them into the habitat that they were evolved to inhabit. Oh, look at her gulp air. See that?
Yeah. Adopt an ephemeral wetland might be on hold for a few months, so we'll talk about that later. For now, the Coastal Plains Institute does have enough water for their other project here.
We've installed a liner here because the liner acts as a barrier. When a big rain does fall, we actually do have a single rain producing a nice puddle here and a persistence of that water over time, whereas a big rain will fall on the next nearby wetland that has no liner, just a sandy, porous bottom, and the rain goes right down into the aquifer.
Drought years are normal for these wetlands, but not too long ago, a years-long drought made it impossible for striped newts to breed, and they almost disappeared from here. They usually breed earlier in the year.
The larvae we released were older larvae, so they were not young, just hatched larvae.
There he goes.
They were larvae that were larger in size and therefore able to metamorphose pretty quickly.
If they metamorphose quickly, they can breathe air and head into the uplands before the pond gets lower. But first, they'd hit a drift fence trap. With the help of citizen scientists, Ryan and Rebecca check these traps for newts and the creatures with whom they share the pond.
There's something in his belly.
Yeah, maybe you can pop it out. If it's in the stomach, you can do it.
We walk to an unlined wetland. A wildfire just passed through last month.
We want all of our striped newt study wetlands to burn through like this. It's good for the vegetation there. In fact, can you see the pine tree crop that was trying to encroach in? One of the reasons for the decline of many of our southeastern amphibians, we believe, is the lack of fire over the past century.
When we don't have a lot of rain and the wetland basin is dry and we don't get a lot of fire coming through the wetland basin, a lot of woody vegetation can colonize the wetlands.
Burning away that woody growth is good for plants in the wetland and out into the forest. Following Munson Sandhills north, we find pollinators at work in the forest as well as our parks.
Wood storks are this huge prehistoric looking bird. They're not the most attractive birds, but they're really cool. And they're rare. So it's just incredible to me that you can go to really, really amazing habitats in Apalachicola National Forest and not see wood storks, and then come here and see them every time. That just blows my mind.
This trash-filled ditch runs between Lake Bradford Road and one of Tallahassee's top birding spots.
The ditch is like a microcosm of Lake Elberta because it's this unlikely place that houses a tremendous diversity of wildlife. Back in summer, I applied for a grant from National Audubon that was called an Audubon in Action grant. And basically, it's for chapters to implement programs that benefit communities and birds at the same time. After racking my brain a lot, I settled on Lake Elberta Park as the site for us to implement this grant. You come here and you're like, whoa, that is not a place I would ever think of to do any sort of habitat work at all. You have mowed grass, water that's basically the dump water for FSU behind me. You have trash around the lake. It's a very odd place to see wildlife. It's not what you would picture. But what's crazy about Lake Elberta is it's so rich in wildlife. I think that Lake Elberta illustrates the fact that if you have the core elements of habitat, wildlife's gonna thrive.
And it's a popular spot for migratory birds.
Back in summer, there was tons of stuff sprouting up, birds coming and going. And then in fall, the trees kind of shut down, everything kind of shut down. But then you get all the ducks, and the lake became full of waterfowl.
Ducks are the most obvious migrants here, but look more closely and you'll see yellow rump warblers, spotted sandpipers, eastern phoebes, and more. Now in the fall, Apalachee Audubon starts work that will pay off in the spring.
One of the first things that we wanted to do here at Lake Elberta was to enhance the number of native plants here. So native plants host native insects, and those feed birds. A lot of people think birds eat mostly seeds. They actually eat mostly insects. And to help the birds and other wildlife, we wanted to add more insects, which meant adding more plants. So we prepared a bed and then basically dumped 2 pounds of native wildflower seeds that contained, I think, 12 different species.
It's a good time to plant, as this is the time of year when many wildflowers go to seed. But even as winter approaches, we see several species in bloom.
The water levels are a lot lower than they were the last time the kids were out here.
The ephemeral wetlands still aren't terribly wet.
I can't even get into the wetland because the vegetation's so high.
There won't be a ton to do in the wetland, but Rebecca has an Adopt an Ephemeral Wetland group coming in today.
After we got the Disney Conservation Fund grant, we were able to incorporate an educational component to our scientific research out here in the Apalachicola National Forest. And the primary research and education project that we do is the Adopt an Ephemeral Wetland program, where we engage the public to monitor the ephemeral wetlands for amphibian communities. Right here. One such group that we have had adopt a wetland is from the Palmer Monroe Teen Center. Some months we would dip net the wetland to see what species were breeding during that particular season. And sometimes we would just hike around their wetlands so that they could get an idea of what the uplands around the wetlands look like, because the uplands are equally as important as the wetlands to these ephemeral wetland breeding amphibians.
Let me speed it up.
The Palmer Monroe kids end their day by picking up trash along a power line cut. Meanwhile, back at Lake Elberta, another community center group is helping Apalachee Audubon attract a spring visitor.
They're in, what, Central or South America right now? Central? South America.
Brazil.
So they're on vacation, but when they come back, they're going to need a place to live, and they're going to fly over this park, and they're going to see these houses, and they're going to be like, I am going there. City of Tallahassee Parks and Recreation Department runs a bunch of centers, and we had kids from the Walker Ford Center out here to help us put up the Purple Martin house, a structure of gourds that hopefully Purple Martins will begin moving into when they come probably in the next month or so. They were helping us stuff the houses with nesting material, raise up the houses off the ground, and basically prepare it so that birds could come here. Purple martins have declined like crazy throughout their range. A lot of their natural hollow trees and nesting cavities are gone, and so humans are basically the only reason they're still nesting in the United States, by putting up these artificial structures. Are they all black?
After a dry 2018, we had a wet winter. We even found a bufflehead swimming on the Palmer Monroe Pond, just as they've been doing at Lake Elberta.
Because ephemeral wetlands are ephemeral, they don't hold water year-round. Their character changes greatly from season to season, but also from year to year. For the majority of this project, this area has been completely dry in between these two wetlands.
This is the moment I love the most, y'all. Striped newt project. We get to release them.
The Coastal Plains Institute usually releases newts in January. This year, there's water for them to do that.
The striped newt is a winter-breeding salamander species, and they will come down to the wetlands sometimes as early as November, but they'll come down November, December, January, February, and they will lay their eggs in the wetlands, and they will only stay for a little while, then go back to the uplands.
They release newts in pairs to increase their chances of mating.
Here's the female. She's gravid, full of eggs, through the skin there, and you can see the eggs. The male, see how large his back legs are? And also he's got little fingernails at the tips of his phalanges.
We haven't had this much rain out here in 4 or 5 years, and that's a really good thing for the amphibian productions in general and our striped newt project in particular.
But it does make it harder to monitor these wetlands.
This is our underwater drift fence, except it's a terrestrial drift fence now underwater because of all of the surplus of rainfall that we've had since the summertime here in the Tallahassee area.
Over the summer, we saw how fire can keep woody growth out of the wetlands. Now we see how flood can do the same for a more fire-resistant tree.
Because the wetland basin is so full, a lot of those pine seedlings are getting drowned out. And that's actually a good thing for wetland ecology, because the trees shade out the herbaceous vegetation, and that herbaceous vegetation is very important for all of the organisms that live in the wetland basin.
We see this during an Adopt an Ephemeral Wetland training. Yes, we finally get to see how this program works.
No.
So what we do is we train people how to dip net in a wetland. We train them how to identify amphibian species in their larval form as well as their adult form. And we provide the equipment and field guides and manuals.
And put it down in the water. Now pull it back toward you. All right. Got anything?
After people attend the training, they then are responsible for dip netting their wetland on their own at least twice a year, once to catch the winter breeding amphibians and once to catch the spring and summer breeding amphibians. From a citizen standpoint, they're really a unique and exciting opportunity to see seasonal changes occur right here in our backyard. They will come to the wetland and they'll get a chance to see lots of different species throughout the year of amphibians as well as our invertebrates.
The ponds are full of dragonflies and damselflies in various stages.
Oh, look at that buggy. Yee, creepy, huh?
Be careful if you're putting other small critters in a tank with dragonfly larvae.
They're bad dragonfly, bad dragonfly.
I know, they're just ferocious.
Lake Elberta isn't the only place to see cool birds. Here's an endangered red-cockaded woodpecker by a wetland.
No wood storks today. Mostly what we're seeing out there is actually a pretty neat bird. It's a lesser scaup. But what's really cool is out here to the right, redheads are a really gorgeous bird. What's neat is that redheads haven't been here much, and they just arrived a few weeks ago.
It's early March. The redheads will soon fly north, and the geese are starting to nest.
Look at these.
A couple of weeks later, the Apalachee Audubon team checks in on trees planted on Arbor Day.
Lemons. What's interesting is during Arbor Day, the city not only planted native trees, but they also wanted to plant fruit and nut trees. And these are not native to the area. And at first I thought, why are we putting exotic trees in? But you're providing things like lemons and nuts and blueberries to the community around here. They can come and basically get a free meal, and so can the wildlife.
Citrus trees host giant swallowtail caterpillars, so they'll attract butterflies, just as the wildflowers planted last fall.
That's a Rudbeckia herda right there. Black-eyed Susans. Yeah.
Oh, so those are good.
One of the most important pollinator plants at Lake Elberta wasn't planted. In fact, it grows pretty much anywhere.
Biden's alba. It's in the top 3 of the most important plants for honeybees in Florida. It's important because 1, it's a composite bloom, so it has plentiful pollen and nectar. And then 2, it blooms practically year-round, even if you mow it and mistreat it. And it pops up everywhere. It's native, and it's a really valuable plant.
Ooh, this one looks weird though. Look at this lupin.
That's a lupin. Look at that.
Oh, here's another one.
There's another lupin and another one.
Oh, and here, look.
Look at that.
All right, you guys, we got some work to do, finally.
There are several species of native lupin in North Florida, like this lady lupin found in the Munson Sandhills. Nearby, there's the sundial lupin, which hosts a rare butterfly species.
Well, the frosted elfin, E-L-F-I-N, at first they look like little brown jobs until you get up close with your binoculars or a camera. When the sunlight hits them, you see greens and golds and even some purplish colors.
Meet Dean and Sally Jew. They are citizen scientists working not far from Ryan and Rebecca's striped newt ponds.
We are looking at the frosted elfin population and how it's responding to the different burn regimes.
The timing of the fire can be critical because if you burn, even if the adults survive, if the host plant is gone, the caterpillars will not survive either.
The timing of the fire is everything. Remember the wildfire that passed through Ryan and Rebecca's wetland? It also passed through the largest frosted elfin population, but at a bad time.
We had over 100 elfins in one burn unit last year. This spring, we've seen 2 or 3 adult elfins so far in that burn unit.
So why is this butterfly so affected by the timing of fire? It happens to operate on a tight seasonal schedule.
The adults emerge in February and March.
It has only 1 brood per year. That means there's only 1 generation of frosted elfins each year. We've seen a lot of female elfins oviposit or lay eggs on the tight buds of a new flower stalk, and they tend to tuck their eggs in amongst the little buds, so the eggs are very hard to find.
We saw a few females probing lupin buds with their abdomens. In the short time adults are flying, they're active.
In early May, the caterpillars are finishing up eating their lupin plants and are beginning to form chrysalises or pupae.
The wildfire came through on May 9th. Prescribed fires start later in May, when the timing is more favorable to elfins. Either way, this is a butterfly that needs fire.
It's definitely fire dependent because if you don't burn after about 3 years, 4 years, the wiregrass and the other shrubby vegetations will overgrow the sundial lupin and basically eliminate the sundial lupin.
Not too far away, the Palmer Monroe students are trying Smilax tips.
Our body metabolizes it, and it has something that's like a precursor to testosterone. So this makes it great a pre-workout snack. So, yeah, just one thing about.
They missed out on seeing their wetland flooded, but they are getting to see spring in the forest. Rebecca takes them to a nearby blueberry bush to look at pollinators.
Just choose a cluster of flowers, stare at the flowers for 5 minutes, and count how many times a bee or a fly or a beetle lands on that plant.
This is for the Great Sunflower Project, a citizen science program Rebecca has incorporated into her wetland field trips.
The Sunflower Project is focused on pollinator services, particularly in urban and suburban areas. So what they're trying to find out is, where are we missing pollinators? And where those places are, what can we do to bring them back?
Meanwhile, take a look at the blueberry bushes at Lake Elberta. Bees seem to like the Meyer lemon trees too. Spring is here, and the Walker Ford kids are seeing how their work has paid off.
If you look at them with the binoculars, you'll see how beautiful and purple they are.
They don't look purple.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Look at it through your binoculars. Look how pretty it is.
Apalachee Audubon also put in this bluebird box.
It's on that branch. See it? Tell your friends where it is.
As we see on EcoCitizen Day, birds are nesting in the forest too.
Brown-headed nuthatch. They go for these very punky pieces of wood like this here, relatively short, not too high up, and this is what they look like. Mom's sitting in there. She's waiting for the other members of the family to come in and feed her. He's real small. He's right there on the right side of that young pine that's all the way on the right. These are one of the species that are cooperative breeders, it's called, where you have mom and dad, and then you have the young of last year that help raise the young of this year. So they cooperatively breed. That's why it's called that.
Near the nuthatch nest, dipnetters are catching larvae from spring breeding amphibians.
That is the biggest one I've seen so far.
The summer breeders are showing up as well.
A lot of our tree frog species here in North Florida are summer breeders, and they will come down to the wetlands in the springtime to breed and lay their eggs in the wetlands.
At Lake Elberta, the wood storks seem to have left to nest in their rookery. Migratory ducks have flown north to nest as well, but we still have wood ducks and geese. Lake Elberta is looking good in spring. A lot of what we see is due to the hard work of Apalachee Audubon.
One of the reasons we wanted to do a project like this and use the Audubon Action Grant is to show people that the work we're doing here is not just restricted to here. You can do this in other parks, and you can even do it in your backyards. Anyone can plant a native milkweed, some native wildflowers, put in a water feature, plant a tree in their yard to attract wildlife. And that has huge, huge benefits, because basically what you're doing when you do that at home is you're creating little stepping stones for wildlife between places like Lake Elberta and Apalachicola National Forest and your own backyard.
Making a place for wildlife helps native plants and animals. But once you have the space, you can gather information about them. There are citizen science projects you can do at home or in the forest. Not only does it help researchers get a handle on plants and animals made vulnerable by climate change or habitat loss, but it gives you a new way to connect with the outdoors.
This is one of the things with citizen science projects, is that you have to meet your objectives for data gathering, but you also have to make sure that it is easy and fun for people to do.
We're just doing this because we're interested, and we just enjoy being out here, enjoying nature and trying to protect some of the special animals and plants in this area.
And that's at the heart of the EcoCitizen project. It's about the enjoyment of connecting with nature, whether you're chasing butterflies in the forest, using iNaturalist to ID a flower in your yard, planting wildflowers in your yard, or splashing around in an ephemeral wetland.
For more information on the citizen science programs featured in the show, and a couple more, check out these links. And for in-depth content on citizen science, building a wildlife refuge, and the many diverse habitats of our area, visit the WFSU Ecology blog.
Funding for WFSU EcoCitizen was provided by Nature and the City of Tallahassee.
Gulf winds blow through canopy roads all the way to Thomasville. The native names written on the land echo through the red clay hills, where the scent of longleaf, Florida pine reach up on past that Georgia line. Stroll through Tallahassee town or southern Apalachee bound. Take the local routes and journey down the roads we call our home. Take the local routes and journey down the roads we call our home.